Hello, everybody. My name is Eric D. Johnson, also known as BrightShine. I live right here in the city of Memphis in the state of Tennessee and the county sheriff. And today's date is early Monday morning, June the 20th, 2016, time 4:51 a.m. First, I thank you all my fans, my support for your continued encouragement and support. I continue to keep myself employed right here in the Memphis tri-state area. I'm going to continue to further my education at Monroe College. Online, pursuing my associate study business administration, concentration marketing. The music you're hearing in the background is it's the hip hop, African hip hop. And it's the African hip hop radio station. And excuse me. And hope it, as you know, yesterday was Father's Day. Hope everybody had a happy Father's Day. And on today's video, we're gonna continue talking about African traditional religion. As you know, African traditional religion is being taught. It's being taught. It's not a phrase, African traditional religion. African traditional religion is being taught in institutions of higher learning in sub-Saharan Africa. You can earn a bachelor's degree, master's degree, and PhD by learning African traditional religion. You can go to the campus in sub-Saharan Africa. You can go online. You can study African traditional religion online. One of those institutions is the Open University of Nigeria. They teach African traditional religion at the campus and online. Another institution that teach African traditional religion online is the University of South Africa. You can go to the campus. You can study online at the University of South Africa. You can study African traditional religion online. excuse me. And well, you might say, where's sub-Saharan Africa? Well, let's get the map. Now, this is a map. It shows what they call, you see West Africa, and you see parts of Central Africa, and you see North Africa. Now, this is one of those language distribution maps. As you can see, the colors up there in the north, the blue, the Afro-Asiatic, the yellow color, those are the Nilo-Saharan people. And now you see the dark orange color, there's Niger Congo A. Then you see a little bit of the light orange color. That's part of the Niger Congo B, the Bantu. Now the other half of that map, you see the color code. It tells you that the blue is the Afro-Asiatic. It tells you that the yellow is the Nilo-Saharan. It tells you that the dark orange color is the Niger Congo A. It tells you that the light orange color is Niger Congo B, the Bantu. Then you see the green color. Those are the Khoi people and the San people. When you see Khoi San, the Khoi people and the San people. As you know, understand the Bantu expansion with the Bantu intermarried with the Khoi people and the San people. And you see the lavender purple looking color over there on the island of Madagascar. That's the Austronesians. So it's very important that you know the difference between an Afro-Asiatic and a Nilo-Saharan, including the Austronesian. It's very important that you know the difference between a Niger Congo and an Afro-Asiatic, including the Austronesian. It's very important that you know the difference between a Nilo-Saharan and a Niger Congo, including the Austronesian. Now this is another map. It's showing you the language distribution. It shows you West Africa, it shows you Central Africa, and it shows you Southern Africa. This is the Niger Congo. It shows you the Niger Congo languages, the primary branch, Volta Congo. Now you see your South Volta, Bantu. Then you have your Bantu besides Bantu. You have your other East Benue Congo. You have your West Benue Congo, and you have your Kwai. Those are South Volta. Then you have your North Volta, Kru, Sanufo. You have your Gur, Volta languages. You have your Adamawa and your Bunjin. Then you have your other primary branches, your Kordofan, your Mandi, your Atlantic, and your Dogon. Now this is another language map that shows the Niger Congo. Niger Congo. You have your Atlantic, Wolof, and Fule, and also in the Atlantic group is your Sira. Then you have your Mandi, Bambare, Maliki, and Mandingo, and Diule. Then you have your Kru. You have your Gur. One of the languages in the Gur language, Mori. Then you have your Kwai languages, Bali, Akan, and Iwi. Then you have your Dogon. You have your Ijoy. You have your Adamawa, your Bunji, Chibaye, Banda, and Zandi. Then you have your Kordofanians. You have your non-Bantoid, Yaruba, Igbo. You have your Bantoid, Fang, Tiki, Lingale, Mungo and Kundu, Congo, Choki, Lube, Luganda, Rwanda, Rundi, Sakume, Kikuyu. Then you have your Bantu, Swahili, Makue, Inyanje, Bembe, Shone, Tisange, Northern Soto, Zulu, Southern Soto, Kosa, Tiswane, Ndange, Umbundu. Now there are many other Niger Congo that may not be mentioned here, and there are others. There are others. So, but this is Niger Congo. We're gonna go into our reading. Reading from the book of West African Traditional Religion, written by Dr. Joseph Omasede Ewelelu and Dr. P. Adelumo Dopemu. Reading from chapter 5, The Cults of God and the Divinities. Festivals. Throughout West Africa, there are annual festivals in connection with each divinity or the ancestor. People come out in their best, and the festival is characterized by eating, drinking, and general rejoicing. The coming together of the people is reenacted, and many people for the first time in a year meet on festival occasions. Men and women are brought together in one crowd, and there is usually a sort of social reunion. In some cases, celebrants spend very heavily during the festival. Also, celebrants stop working during the festival, which may last many days or weeks, and this may have an adverse effect on both sellers and buyers. Their contribution to the economy is thus temporarily paralyzed. Besides, the annual festival is important for its spiritual value. It is primarily to thank the divinity connected with the festival for his past blessing and protection, to ask for his blessing on the worshippers, trade, and other activity, and to propitiate him that all may be well with them throughout the year. The meals constitute an opportunity of communion between the divinity and the worshiper, and between the worshippers themselves. The festival is also a time for renewal of covenant. The festival may be in honor of an ancestor. This has its basis in the belief that life does not end in this physical world and that life continues in the spirit world after death. The dead ancestors are uniquely united with the living. Other festivals may be for the purpose of training the youth to be strong, brave, and industrious, while others may be for the purpose of upholding public morality. There are very many festivals in West Africa. The reader must be familiar with some of these festivals celebrated in his or her locality. Because of their large number, it is not possible to discuss all of them. We should only describe one or two festivals, and the reader will augment these with those of his locality. Ijo Festival among the Urhobo of Nigeria. Among the Urhobo in Nigeria, there is a festival. There is a village called Otira. This village observes an annual festival known as Ijo. Ijo is in honor of Omeloku, a divinity of the sea. The people believe that Omeloku takes good care of her children who go to sea, sends game to the nets of fishermen, brings rain and fertility to crops, brings children, wealth, and all that is good, and generally takes care of the villagers and provides for their well-being. Ejo is therefore performed to honor Omeloku for all her help and protection. It is believed that if the people fail to perform the festival in any one year, the consequences will be disastrous. Omeloku therefore should not be provoked, but his blessings should be sought. The festival takes place between April and May each year. Few days to the festival, all sons and daughters of Otira village will come from far and near in preparation for the festival, which lasts 7 days. The festival is ushered in by masquerade, masquerade, masqueraders who dance round from one end of the village to the other. Early in the morning, the priest of Omeloku performs some rites in her shrine by the side of the river. In an open space facing the river, the masqueraders dance before Omeluku. Sacrificial items are thrown into the river. These include fowls, coconuts, and gin. Parts of the offerings are placed in the shrine out of the sacrifice. The masqueraders dance in two, then in three, then in four, and so on. The people applaud them, calling them the children of Omeluku and the children of water. People continue with eating and drinking throughout the 7 days, and no work is allowed. And each day, the dance takes place in front of Omeluku. The festival ends on the 7th day with special rites and prayer for protection. The Ikija festival of Aka people. The Aka people are among the Igbo of Nigeria. They celebrate the Ikija festival twice each year, before the planting season and after the harvest season. Akija is believed to be the spirit of Yam. Among some Igbo, this spirit is called Ifijoku. The Igbo regard the earth as their sustainer. It yields good crops and sustains human beings. It is the storehouse of the ancestors since they are buried therein. If the earth gets weak, farm products will not do well and men will surely suffer. Both the earth, goddess, and the spirit of Yam are therefore offered sacrifice. And so, before the planting season, there is a need to placate the spirit that makes the yams grow with strength. The day is normally the first Nikwe market day in May. On this day, nobody goes to the farm or to the market. The night before the festival, every household kills a fowl and prepares okra soup as a special dish for the occasion. Very early on the festival day, yam, fufu, is prepared. This is carried with the soup to the shrine of Akija. Men and women also hold yam tubers. The priest, when most people have gathered, invokes the spirit of Akija. This is followed by incantation, prayers, and eulogies. Then a goat and 3 fowls bought through communal subscriptions are sacrificed. Their blood is allowed to fall on the shrine. The sacrificial victims are cooked and yam fufu is prepared with the yam tubers carried by the people. This fufu mixed with soup is offered to Akija amidst incantation and invocation. The priest and his attendants taste of the food, and then pass the remainder to the congregation of men, women, and children. The food brought from home by the women is also tendered for public consumption. Everybody helps himself or herself to any dish without minding who has brought it. Indeed, children take pride in scrambling for the food. This is communal food at its best. The congregation disperses and everybody goes home. Men and children move about with their masqueraders. Women go out with their dancing groups. The ceremony may continue till dawn. The New Yam Festival is almost the same thing as described above, but the New Yam Festival is more elaborate, and new yams are used in the celebration. More animal victims may also be killed since the number of people is usually large. In both cases, the theological significance is clear. When animals are slaughtered, the people are in effect asking the gods to remember that both soil and human beings have to continue to be fertile. The wearing of masks is a practical way to bring about the union of the dead ancestor with the living. At the festival, both the living and the dead in each family, village or town meet, eat, drink, enjoy, and dance together. The living also receive the blessings of the dead. Odu, Oluwe Festival in Igbare Oki of Yoruba land. Oluwe Festival is performed as Thanksgiving and propitiatory sacrifice to the chief divinity of the town. The people believe that it was Oluwe that helped the ancestors of Igbare Oki to find the town. They also believe that Oluwe is responsible for the fertility of the land and thus making the farmers produce abundantly. He also increases the population since fertility of soil and human beings depends on him. The festival is therefore to thank him for his continued protection, to ask for pardon for any sin committed on his soil, to ask him to continue blessing the soil with rain so that his children may continue to have food, to ask him for children and orderliness in families, and finally to give him adoration. The festival is held about the month of September during the harvesting of crops. On the day of the festival, the chief priest, accompanied by some important chiefs in the town, offers a fat cow at the shrine of Oluwe. Later in the day, people bring pounded yam and melon soup to the shrine of Oluwe. Both the people and the divinity partake of this meal. The festival is characterized by the usual merrymaking. Some devotees are usually possessed, and such people deliver messages from Oluwe. A-Day ceremony among the Akan of Ghana. A-Day means a place to rest or lying down. That is why on A-Day, work is forbidden. It is a day of rest for both the living and the dead. At the ceremonies, the ancestors are recalled. Food and drink are offered to them, and their favors are solicited for the welfare of the family, clan, and ethnic group. The Adai ceremony is held twice in 43 days. That means that an Adai occurs every 21 days. The first is called Quesede or Adaye Kisi, the great Adaye, and it falls on Sunday. And the second called the Kude, little Adaye, falls on Wednesday. On the eve of an Adaye, the talking drums announced to the people that an Adaye is to be celebrated the following day. Stocks of water, wood, and food are also got in readiness for the festival. Utensils are cleaned, stools are scrubbed, and other works are done, since nobody must work on a sacred day. Early in the morning of the Kude, the chief, accompanied by elders and led by the head stool carrier, entered the stool house where the ancestral stools are housed. All take their sandals off their feet and strip to the waist in respect of the ancestors who are present on their stool. The chief then puts a spoonful of mashed plantain on the oldest stool and offers prayer to the invisible but present ancestor. The same is done at the other stool. The plantain that remains is scattered on the ground for the spirits. A sheep is offered and slaughtered to the ancestor. The blood is smeared on the seat and edge of each stool. A piece of meat is also placed on each stool as the chief offers prayer for children, prosperity, wealth, and long life. The chief then takes a bottle of rum or whiskey, drinks some from a glass, and pours some out on each stool as he repeats the prayer. The remainder is drunk by other officiants. After these rites in the stoolhouse, a public ceremony is held. In an open space, the chief sits there, and he is surrounded by his counselors, drummers, and singers. Everyone partakes in the general singing and dancing. The Kwisi Day, or Sunday a day, is celebrated almost as the Wednesday a day, but the Sunday a day is preceded by a wave suffering. An old woman early in the morning waves a pot of water above her head and quickly turns it upside down on the ground. By this, it is believed that any disagreement among officials will be stopped. Yams are also put on the blackened stool by the chief, and the ceremony is concluded as in the Wednesday a day. We just got to read chapter 5, the course of God and the divinity. We read from the book West African Traditional Religion, written by Dr. Joseph Omasede Ebalelu and Dr. P. Adalumo Dopemu. We're going to continue our reading. We're going to read from the book written by Dr. Ibaloji Adowu, African Traditional Religion, a Definition. And we're reading from chapter 4, the nature of African Traditional Religion. Here we again come to delicate ground for the same reason that one has to tread warily and be sure of one's perception when discussing religion in Africa. The main factor to watch here is the bewildering variety with which one is confronted within a basically more or less homogeneous system. It is a result of this, plus the fact of preconceived notions that all sorts of offhand names have been coined or adopted to describe what appear to be indescribable the essential characteristics of African traditional religion. We should do well first to examine some of these names under the following comprehensive heading: errors of terminology. We may begin with and dispose of a few attributive words which have been abused consistently by writers on Africa. Then we shall deal with abstract substantives. There are three such adjectives, among others, which call for immediate attention. These are the words primitive, savage, and native. Really, there should be no need at this time of the day for any dispute about such words, in consequence both of the findings of scholarship hitherto and the lip service which is being so loudly paid to progress in scientific and open-minded thinking. But we have to deal with the human mind, which has a sure way of addicting itself stubbornly to the obviously incongruous, if only to satisfy personal, racial, ethnic, or political egocentricity. Primitive. The concise Oxford Dictionary defines this word as early, ancient, old-fashioned, simple, rude, original, primary. It should be obvious that in the light of some of the words in this definition, primitive cannot be appropriate in certain contexts in which it is being currently applied. With reference to any people in the world today, early, ancient, original, or primary does not apply. Primitive man, in the sense conveyed by the words quoted, disappeared from this world 1,000 years ago. The peoples who are being so described today are contemporaries of, and as old or as recent in earthly lineage as the races of those who are so describing them. The fashion that perpetuates the incongruous use of the word stems from the notion that anything that does not conform to a certain cultural pattern accepted as the norm by the Western investigator is regarded automatically as primitive. That is, that which belongs to the category of those things which have somehow been left behind in the race of cultural sophistication. Primitive in this connection means categorically backward, rude, or uncountable. The anthropological or sociological use of the word primitive has been defended on the ground that it only refers to that which is adjudged to be nearer in behavior or pattern to the original with reference to the human race or culture. It is with the excuse that Western writers still persist in applying the word to Africa and to African beliefs and practice. This follows also the slothful pattern that where a new adequate term is not conveniently ready to hand for any situation, an old one, however outmoded or unsuitable, is applied without any apology. Two facts must be considered here. First, there are people in the world today whose manners of life can be described as still closely related to those which are known to history as the ways of their early forebears. In fact, it is possible to find areas where not much has radically changed, dating back to the flood, may here be applied as a relative loose term. This may be due to the fact that there has not been much contact from outside or to the stubbornness of cultures which somehow resist the sovereign of foreign agents. Education is known to and introduced by the West has not covered the whole world and is not everywhere that Western or new ways of life have been adopted as second nature. Secondly, there is an element of the ancient subsisting in every culture, whatever the stage of development, each culture maintains itself on an autonomous principle of continuity and discontinuity. Even in a new culture or in reality, a medley of cultures like that of America, there are unmistakable vestiges of the cultural backgrounds of the peoples who are now embraced by the common name of Americans. For example, in the year 1969, Earlham College in Richmond, Indiana, celebrated a very elaborate May Day. An old English pageant was called into being. Maypoles, May Queens, and a juvenile. The president of the college and his wife appearing anciently as the Lord Chancellor and Queen Elizabeth I. This elaborate celebration occurs at Earlham every fourth year. It is not only to remind the people of their origins, it is also to revitalize in them the basic culture which makes them distinctive even within a new cultural situation of which they are part. What happens to cultures in general happens also to religions. There are religions which may be more closely related to what is known about their early forms than other religions, depending upon the historical and geographical circumstance of those who practice them. But there is no religion where the principle of continuity and discontinuity is not manifestly in operation. Although unfortunately there are certain religions about which the leaders are dishonestly trying to suppress the fact of their indebtedness to the past. Nevertheless, as we have observed earlier in this book, every religion is a new religion every day. That is, as long as it is a religion practiced by living people who are being affected by the inevitable factor of change, which is the lot of all on this earth. Stagnation isn't alien to nature as it is to history. Things may appear stagnant, but sooner or later they will manifest the signs either of progress or retrogression. Thus, strictly, religion in its pristine form, is no longer in existence. What we see today is modern and contemporary, wherever its location may be. This is partly admitted by Freud when he says, inter alia, it should not be forgotten that primitive races are not young races, but are in fact as old as civilized races. There is no reason to suppose that for the benefit of our information, they have retained their original ideas and institutions undeveloped and undistorted. It is especially wrong to speak of the religions of any living people as primitive simply on the ground of racial or ethnic prejudice. Primitive in most Western writings is a derogatory term and therefore obnoxious. Therefore, it is not only inappropriate but also offensive to describe African traditional religion unreservedly as primitive. We're going to stop right there. We just got through reading the book African Traditional Religion, a definition written by Dr. E. Balozi Idowu. And we just got through reading chapter 4, the nature of African traditional religion. We're going to continue our reading from the book written by Dr. John S. M. Beatty, titled African Religions and Philosophy. And we're reading from chapter 15, Specialists, Medicine Men, Rainmakers, Kings, and Priests. We're on B now. Mediums and diviners. These specialists belong to the category of the medicine men, both in their training and duties. In their profession, they also deal with the living dead and spirits, whereas medicine men generally do not. This is, however, chiefly an academic distinction, and often the same specialist plays the role of both medicine man and diviner. And African names for them are often the same. The main duty of mediums is to link human beings with the living dead and the spirits. Through them, messages are received from the other world, or men are given knowledge of things that would otherwise be difficult or impossible to know. For example, through a medium who gets in touch with the spirit world, a person may be directed to find a lost article, or to know who stole his goods. Mediums function in this role only when possessed by a spirit, otherwise they are normal people without specialized abilities. Their distinction is the ability to be possessed or get in touch with the spirit world, but this also depends on the willingness of the departed or other spirits to get into them and communicate through them. I recently witnessed and tape recorded one such case some 20 kilometers from Kampala. A young man was dressed up in a bark cloth, put on a ring made of a creeping plant, and held another plant half a meter long in his hand. He sat down in the diviner's room where a crowd of 25 to 30 people gathered. One of the men started to sing a highly rhythmical song, and the rest of the crowd joined with singing, clapping, and rattling small gourds. The medium to be sat quietly on the floor without even turning his head. The singing and rattling went on for about 13 minutes when suddenly the young man's hands began to tremble. 3 or 4 minutes later, he started talking in an entirely different voice. The singing stopped, and the diviner could then talk with the medium for about 15 minutes, in the middle of which the medium or spirit in him requested another song to be sung. At the end, the medium jumped about like a frog, banged his head hard on the floor, and with his fist hit his own chest very hard twice or thrice. Then it was normal once more. When I cross-examined him afterwards, he assured us that he was not aware of what he said or did during the time he was acting as a medium. My colleagues and I got the impression that he was in his right mind and that he told us the truth concerning what he felt and did while he was in that trance. The spirit which entered this young man, who was an apprentice to a diviner, has been kept at the home of the diviner since 1958, as he told us, living in a buffalo home, Yimbi in Uganda. This is an example of a medium working with a diviner or medicine man. The medium gives information concerning the cause, nature, and treatment of disease or other form of misfortune, and concerning thefts or loss of articles. It is then the duty of the diviner to follow or interpret the instruction from the medium. In some cases, diviners or medicine men may be possessed and temporarily become mediums. During the mediumship, the person loses his own being or senses and becomes simply an instrument of the spirit in him. He can then be led to act and speak accordingly to the wishes of the spirit, seemingly without hurting himself. I have heard from eyewitnesses of cases where the medium would lick with his tongue a red hot knife or pieces of iron until it cools off without burning either his hand or tongue. The medium I described in the previous paragraph did not seem to sustain any noticeable injury from banging his head on the floor and hitting his chest hard. He, however, breathed very hard and his arm muscles stiffened considerably during the period of mediumship. Spirits that come into mediums are not harmful. They are friendly, are welcomed by people, and remain briefly or temporarily in the medium's concern. Most mediums are women. There's another type of medium associated with priests and temples or shrines. These mediums are reported in societies like the Ashanti, Baganda, Iwi, Fon, Yoruba, and a number of other peoples, especially in Western Africa. It is reported, for example, that many Dahomey priests are never subject to possession themselves, but have mediums attached to their temples who enter into trance at will. Possession generally occurs for the first time when a person is attending a public religious ceremony. At the, at the movement of the dance and the example of some inspired devotees, the new person falls down in a fit or leaps into the ring and dances in an extravagant fashion. The presiding priest interprets this as a divine call and persuades the inspired one to begin training for the service of a god. This training may last 2 or more years, during which the person must observe strict chastity. At the end, a sacrifice is offered, and the trainee says to the divinity concerned, "Today, you have completed marriage with me," after which the person may marry or resume his marital position and duties if already married. Among the gay, mediums are trained by priests, some being officially appointed by the priest or village elders. If already married, they have to leave their families, and when their training is over, male mediums or medicine men may remarry. Their training lasts 2 or 3 years for many. Under strict discipline, if after receiving a call to become a medium, a person does not obey it, people say that the divinity or spirit troubles him so much that he goes mad. During training, the candidate sleeps on hard floor and with insufficient covering even during cool nights. Hews firewood, draws water, and completely refrains from sexual intercourse. Training also involves dancing while possessed. An account is given of such dances. Various people enter the ring 2 or 3 at a time, dance and rejoin the crowd. The mediums may do the same, dancing ordinarily in the capacity of ordinarily human beings, or they may disdain to do this and sit still. Suddenly, a medium will start to look worried and oppressed. Then she will begin to tremble and rock about on her stool, rolling her eyes terribly and perhaps struggling and fighting the air. The attendants then get her to her feet, steer her behind the scene, strip her, paint her with white clay, and deck her with her grass or colored cotton skirt, her beads, anklets, bells, and amulets. Then they bring her out again. She jiggles and shakes and remains on her feet in constant motion for hours. She often performs feats of endurance impossible in ordinary life. During the possession, she may have either one personality or several, depending on how many divinity or spirits enter her at a time. She then behaves in the manner of the divinity or spirit possessing her, like a warrior or pregnant woman, or a lame man, and sometimes animal spirits come into meetings and make them bark, snarl, or go on all fours. At the end of the fit, the spirit shouts through her that it is time for it to depart, and she collapses into the arms of the attendants. She looks as though she had just awakened from sleep, and indeed a medium always says she has no recollection whatever of the part she took in the dance. If one is old, her face resumes the looks of old age, whereas she looked quite young while dancing. Outstanding mediums hold annual feats to thank their particular divinity or spirit attended by people who have been helped through the mediums. It is reported that the fund at some Yaruba have convents where mediums are trained, 9 months for a boy and 3 years for a girl. At the beginning, the novice is possessed by the god, but when he emerges from the seclusion of the convent, he is not simply a changed being, but a new and different personality. He does not recognize his own parents or former companions. He speaks another language as if he were a stranger from a foreign country and bears a new name. Henceforth, it is absolutely forbidden to call him by his old name, and he will relearn his old language slowly when he reemerges from the convent to live among his family again. The trainees are normally aged between 10 and 16 years. Though occasionally married people may be among them, the choice of the trainee may come spontaneously during the dances at the annual recruiting ceremonies, or a person may be delivered by his family on request from the principal priest, or it may be that in gratitude for answered prayers, the parents already vowed to the divinity concerned that they would dedicate their child to it. If the novice is unwilling to go into training, he is taken at night into the convent. The priest concerned interviewed the trainee to be confronting him with, "The God has told me that he wishes to call you today. Do you agree?" For which the answer must be yes. An initiation dance follows the next day, and other ceremonies are observed during the following 7 days, at the end of which the novice becomes a prisoner of war to the divinity concerned. After that, he goes into complete seclusion until his training is completed, though his family must continue to provide him with material needs in the convent, yet without actually seeing him. I'm going to have to stop right there. We just got through reading the book written by Dr. John S.M. Beatty, African Religions and Philosophy. And we're reading chapter 15, Specialists, Medicine Men, Rainmakers, Kings, and Priests. We're going to continue our reading from the book Concepts of God in Africa, written by Dr. John S.M. Beatty. We read from part 4, God and Man. Read number 19, Worship, Intermediaries, and Other Specialists. seers, prophets, and oracles. Written information on the subject of these specialists is very slight, and the terms tend to be used loosely. Among the Kikuyu, the seers are ritual elders supposed to be in direct communication with God. He gives them instruction in dreams, and they decide the time for the agricultural sacrifice. The Lango are said to receive God's advice through the seers on matters both great and small. When special needs arise, the Ele go to a prophet or prophetess who guides them in performing the necessary ritual and invocations to God. The Tukane diviners are said to receive prophetic dreams and to foretell the future. It is held by the Tiswane that formerly they had seers or prophets who foretold droughts, diseases, and other major events. They received their revelation either from God or the spirits. The Miru religious leader, the Mugwe, is said to derive his power from God. He is considered a wise man and man of God, the chief leader and savior of his own people. He was one such, Mugwe, who led the Miru from their former land of bondage. They say that the Mugwe is one who knows and teaches about God. His calling comes from God and becomes God's messenger as well as represent the people's needs before God. He is like the father of the Miru. He prays to God for this people of mine. He is regarded as a man of God. He is identified with God. He is also the tutor of young initiates and the guarantor of the society's prosperity. The Ganda, mediums or oracles, act as the mouthpiece of the divinities. They are both men and women, chosen through being possessed by the divinity concerned. A woman medium is regarded as the bride of the divinity and remains chaste all her life. Among the Yaru, the Ife oracle of divination has priests whose training lasts 3 years and who are also physicians, diviners, medicine men, and witches. Diviners are mentioned often in our sources, but no serious or detailed study of them is given. They are briefly described in E.G. Farenda's West African Religion, 1961, and J.S.M. Beatty's African Religions and Philosophy, 1969. We shall take a few examples here. In time of droughts, the Ile go to the diviner to find out why God does not give them rain. The Ja believe that some of their diviners receive revelation from God. The Lubare believe that their diviners are connected with God in his immanent aspect and that he gives them their mystical power. Top. Nearly all their diviners are women. Their power is hereditary, and God is thought to possess a would-be diviner in her adolescence. She then wanders in the woods for several days, at the end of which she returns home. With the power to divine, on getting married, she becomes a diviner, and a shrine is erected to her, to which people refer to as the hut of God. The diviners are spoken of as the children of God, and the people of God, being regarded as the link between men and God. Among other things, they bring back the dead to the living, and these are thought to help the people live in peace. The Tukane believe that the diviner is God's chief representative. He begins his career by a period of complete retreat from other people, lasting from 1 day to several months. During this period of withdrawal, he lives in deserted areas. When he returns to society, he begins to have prophetic dreams, foretells the future, heals the sick, combats witchcraft and sorcery, cures barrenness, purifies or fortifies aged sense, predicts successful raids, and induces rain. Among the Toro, the diviners are said to derive their power from God. The Zulu narrate that when men lost the gift of immortality, God gave them doctors, medicines, and diviners, a most worthy consolation. Medicine men or traditional doctors are generally given bad publicity by foreign writers who simply harp on their preconceived notions which do not match the facts. The medicine men are the greatest friends of African societies, and each community has one or more of them. Their main duties are medical, but in some societies, the medicine men perform religious functions in addition. We shall give some examples of the latter practice. Among the Akambe, The medicine men determine the nature and form of right to be performed in times of need, and some of them direct the actual performance of it. The BNA associate medicine and medical skill of these doctors with God. It is said among the lingo that God gives advice through the doctors. The Tiswane believe that the professional knowledge of the medicine men is a gift of God. In time of war, the Luo medicine men make prayers and sacrifice to God. When twins are born, the Gisu medicine men sacrifice fire to the divinity. The medicine men of the Hazapa are reported to sing at certain times to the sun, which is associated with God. It is the Kayage medicine men who would recommend when offerings are to be made to the spirit. The Lango diviners who also fulfill the office of the medicine men are said to derive their power from God. The witches and sorcerers are the great enemies of society, performing any social deeds which poison its welfare. Sometimes people create imaginary ideas about witches, and innocent women are often suspected of and even persecuted for being witches. Sorcerers may or may not use magical means to harm their enemies, but they are feared perhaps more than they deserve. In some single case have I come across any indication that witches or sorcerers act in any intermediary capacity between God and men. There are, however, a few examples in which witches, sorcerers, or their powers are linked with God. The Langos say that sorcerers can generate the power of God through certain acts. The Lubare associate God's imminent aspect with witches and sorcerers. The Lunde believe that all things belong to God, including the power of the sorcerers. It is also said among the Burundai that God gives power to the magicians and witches. The Bine associate the power of wizards with God. Magicians belong partly to the category of sorcerers and partly to the category of medicine men. They use their magic power and knowledge for both good and evil purposes as far as the rest of society is concerned. When they use it for good purposes, they are readily diviners, medicine men, or rainmakers. And when they employ it for evil purposes, they are witches, wizards, and sorcerers. It is doubtful whether pure magicians really exist. Apart from these two major groups in the category of conjurers, there is, however, magic power comprising partly knowledge and manipulation of secrets generally unknown to the public, and partly common sense, deceit, and conjuring tricks. The Zulu believe that God loves certain magicians, whom they call the shepherds of heaven, and through whom he influences the weather, if they are ritually clean. I'm going to stop right there. We just got to read part 4, God and Man. And we read number 19, worship, intermediaries, and other specialists. We just got to read the book titled Concepts of God in Africa, written by Dr. John S.M.B. Before we end today's video, we're going to go to our Yoruba and our Igbo. And, I usually start the video, but we're going to go to our languages first. Okay, we're on ilanguages.org, Yoruba. Go to Yoruba grammar at the very top where it says and before inside. Then we're gonna stop. We're gonna do that. And a time before Seju inside Nanu with Pilu for fun. To Sa under Nasali after Lihin outside Ate. But Sabon from Leta in Anu. And let's go over here to our languages.org Igbo. And we at the very top, Igbo grammar. No grammar. Igbo grammar on ourlanguages.org Igbo. We at the very top, and before inside. Start with and, nay, before, tutu, inside, in ami, with, nay, for, make, to, g, under, in akuru, after, in ikpiazu, outside, in ahi, in alo, but, mene, from, sa, in, ami. Now let's go over here to learn101.org. Yahoo. Let me see. That, hold up on now. Okay. Trying to, let me see. Okay, we're gonna go over here to the Yaruba. We're gonna learn101.org. Learn101.org. Yaruba grammar. Yaruba grammar. Go to Yaruba grammar. Then scroll down where it says preposition, grammar rules. So for all you who study English or your grammar in school and everything, it's giving you the it shows you the preposition plus rules, like preposition plus noun or verb plus preposition, adjective plus preposition, things of this nature. So where it says preposition grammar rules, it says I eat without a knife. Then go to where it says Yaruba. Mo may injun le asi obi. Now your pronunciation may not be good like mine. Mine may not be good. My pronunciation is not that good either. And the next one says she lives near the church. O Nb Natosa Ali Ajosin. And the next one says he is taller than her. O Nb Natosi Ali Ajosin. He came with his small dog. Owe Pilu AJ Re Kikiri. Can you come with me? NG Oli Wait Pilu Ma. Now let's go over here to the Igbo, learn101.org. Igbo. Grammar. Now scroll down where it says preposition, grammar rules. I eat without a knife. Ijaro M. May Ira Nira. She lives near the church. Obani Oba in a Kuku Ulo UK. He is taller than her. OKA2 Ogolulu. OKA2 Ogologo. He came with his small dog. Yene Obili and Kite Ye So Bye. Can you come with me? I get so MG. So that was our learn101.org, Yahoo, and Igbo. Gonna get ready to end today's video. And again, my name is Eric D. Johnson, also on BrightShine, live right here in the city of Memphis. It's in the state of Tennessee, it's in the county ship. And first, I thank you all my fans, my support for your continued encouragement, support, continue to work on my entertainment, music interest. And like I said, until my next video, take care of yourself, wish each and every one of you very best.